All right, this is the Big Al and Dave podcast. I'm Dave, sitting here with Al.
Big Al, a.k.a. Raider X.
Ray.
Deep within the confines of the Raider Nation.
How deep does the Raider Nation go?
How deep is deep?
Whatever that means. Anyway. Hey, so let's start off this podcast with, we're starting off we're doing the podcast on Saturday instead of the usual Monday or Tuesday because I'll be in vacation in San Diego next week.
Wow. Hey, this time of year, San Diego is a great place to be.
Yeah, so pumped up.
They don't have a football team anymore, but hey, everybody went anyway.
That's messed up because they have some good fans down there.
No, they don't.
You're just telling me about one.
One does not make good fans. Remember, I'm telling you that, Dave. I'm
just trying to tell you that every team has hardcore fans.
I know. You know what? One of my nephews who lived down in San Diego, he's a teacher at some school down in San Diego area. And he actually, 2 years ago, his picture was on the actual San Diego tickets. His picture, he won some kind of thing, and he put his picture on actual tickets.
That's how they try to get people to go there? They'll put you on the ticket?
Maybe. So I know he's pretty sick. He's actually one of the San Diego fans who actually gonna try to go to L.A.
The Home Depot Center. They're playing at that soccer stadium. 30,000 seats.
Yeah, that's right.
That's an experience.
They're going to be all visiting fans.
You think the Raider Nation will fill that place up?
Oh, God. I'm going to that game next year. I'm going to go.
Yeah? Carson?
Because, it's going to be all Raider fans. Just like a nice little quaint Raider crowd. I'm going to love it.
Well, it always was whenever they played.
Well, this is going to be even more so.
Okay, so we're going to open this thing with, I guess you might as well hand the NBA championship trophy to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
We're not handing them anything.
We might as well just hand it over because...
No way.
Kevin Durant... Kevin Durant is out for the season. The regular season.
Maybe not.
He might come back for the regular season?
Yeah, they said 4 weeks.
A minimum of 4 weeks. And they're going to reevaluate him in 4 weeks.
What happens if he's okay?
What is his injury?
Weeks? He's got like
it's not going to be
grade 2 a meniscus sprain.
Yeah.
And
Steph Curry had a grade 1 last year in the playoffs, right against the Rockets.
Yeah, and then he's got a bone bruise.
Yeah, so Steph Curry wasn't the same after he had his grade 1.
But Steph had to come back after just 2 weeks. We're talking about
4 weeks.
Month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Kevin Durant, who's been injury prone in his past, he missed a lot of time.
What does that got to do with the Warriors not winning a championship?
Well, I mean, the Cleveland Cavaliers are loading up here.
I mean, they loaded up with Bogish.
Yeah, and Darren Williams.
And there were Darren Williams is a has-been, and as far as I'm concerned, Bogish never was. So,
He never was?
Never was. He has never. Has he ever been an all-star?
We're going to talk about bogus again?
Has he ever been an all-star?
I'm the NHL fan. I don't know.
He's never been an all-star. So if you've never been an all-star in this league, you're just basically an okay player.
So you're going to ask Kevin Durant after he comes back from a grade 2 MCL sprain.
Yes.
To guard the best player in the world 4 weeks after that. How's that going to go down?
So you assuming that Kevin Durant...
4 weeks minimum.
So you're seeing Kevin Durant, in your opinion, best player in the world is LeBron James, and you think Kevin is the one who's going to have to be guarding him.
LeBron James, that's an opinion? That he's the best player in the world?
Yes, I think it's arguably.
What?
Because as many people say that he's the best player in the world, you got a lot of other players who say he's not. Right now, you ask some of the Oklahoma Thunder fans, they might think Westbrook is. You ask some of the teams over in Houston, some of them...
How about let's not ask the fans?
Well, if you're asking me, Steph Curry is the best player in the NBA.
What are you? A Warriors what?
I'm a Warrior fan.
A Warrior fan.
That's right.
Oh yeah, who are you gonna say?
That's right. You know how I roll, Dave. You asked me, we went over this. You asked me the best player.
We drafted our own. We had a draft where we were gonna pick our teams for a pickup game, right?
Yeah, but I had to help you all along the way.
No, you got me one player. I did pretty good.
The one player I
What are you talking about? You had to help me. My team was smash yours.
Whatever.
Even when I gave you the first pick, you still drafted the same guy. You even had a shot at drafting LeBron.
And who did I just say I thought was the best player in the world?
Exactly.
And who did I take with my first pick?
The best player in the world doesn't disappear in the finals.
Who did I take with my first pick?
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
You can have him.
And don't we still have him on the floor?
You can have him.
Don't we still have Draymond on the floor? Don't we still have Klay Thomas on the floor?
Once Draymond hits somebody in the nuts, he won't be there anymore.
But until that happens, he's there.
Is he reliable?
Yeah, he's reliable.
How many games was he suspended in the finals last year? Was he suspended?
One.
Oh.
He ain't the first player who got suspended for a game, and he ain't going to be the last player to get suspended for a game.
That's true.
So.
I'll probably be him again.
Maybe.
So you're still confident. You being the Golden State Warriors fan since, what, 2015, 14?
Since before you was born. Since they came to Oakland.
You didn't like them when they were in San Francisco?
Since they came to the Bay Area then.
Oh, okay.
I think they started playing at the Coliseum in 68 or 67. Anyway, I was a teenager when they first started playing in Oakland.
And they wore the shorts like all the way.
They didn't just wear the shorts all the way like that. Everybody wore the shorts all the way.
That's what I'm talking about.
That was during the hot pants era.
Even you did.
That's right.
Really?
That was the style.
Because you did a lot of running, right? Were you?
Yeah, I was a marathon runner.
Yeah. That was before the Krispy Kreme donuts got a hold of you.
Yeah, the Krispy Kreme donuts, I must admit, they was one of the culprits in helping me develop diabetes.
They'll do that to you. Well, wait a minute. You would sit down and eat a whole dozen in one setting.
You can't just eat one Krispy Kreme donut?
Well, you don't have to eat 12.
Well, you know.
I mean, come on.
They are addictive.
It's actually kind of gross. But I mean, if we want to talk about eating habits, I'm the worst ever.
Yeah, that's why you...
What?
That's why you weigh about 90 pounds and you're 6'4".
Yeah, I eat a lot of fast food. Well, I was eating a lot of fast food. All my food's frozen.
Wow, that's because you're single, Dave. You need to find you a girl and have her cook for you.
Oh man, that'd be the easiest job in the world for her, because...
a Raider fan girl. Have her straighten you out.
You think she would be able to adjust to this environment in here? I got 49ers gear all over my living room. We're sitting on a red couch.
See, Dave, I'm gonna tell you what women will do. They'll come and look at your house, and they see you got a real nice house, and they come off in here and it's got all this sports stuff in here.
I do have a nice house.
And they'll tend to like it while they trying to get the claws into you. Oh yeah, I like it and stuff. Then once you buy the cow, it's a done deal. They'll be up there saying, you know what? So all this 49er stuff got to go. All of this other hockey stuff and who is that? Pussifer?
I got Pussifer posters.
Whoever that is, all of that stuff.
In my kitchen. Look up pussifer.com.
Yeah, well, Dave.
Pussifer.
You actually got a great single guy's house.
Yeah. The thing is
this house will keep you single.
Well, the thing is I do play hard to get, if not impossible.
I'm not sure that's a good thing, Dave.
You know my dating history.
You can't be that hardcore. You got to learn how to give a little bit when it comes to girls.
Well, that means going to a Raider fan automatically?
Well, if I say you want a good, wholesome girl, get you a Raider girl. A Raiderette.
Oh, well, hey.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah. I'm not going to say me too.
You're taken.
Oh, that's right. My wife listens to this show.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
How'd she like the Super Bowl episode?
Believe it or not, I don't think she listened to that one.
Oh, really?
I'm still keeping eyes in the past. I'll keep that one away from her.
Oh, I was trying to make that one a hit. All right, hey, speaking of the San Francisco 49ers, Colin Kaepernick has opted out of returning, which is no surprise. They readjusted his contract so that he would have the option to leave, or before he would get injured, they wouldn't have to pay him if he couldn't pass a physical by April 1st. So he's opting out of his contract. And then it came out, it was leaked to Adam Schefter at ESPN that he's ready to stand during the national anthem. Now, that was the biggest story of the summer. You got to give the Niners that.
Yeah.
That him first sitting and then kneeling for the national anthem. And boy, I was going crazy over that. I was pumped up about that whole thing because it made us interesting. So I'm to understand that you're the Raiders season ticket holder.
Right.
And you told me that you were sitting during the national anthem
When
after Kaepernick did his
right.
thing.
When
So
he first did it, I actually done a video on YouTube, and it showed me saying that I'm a Raider fan, and from that
there's
day
a video
forward,
out there.
Yes, from that day forward, I was sitting at the national anthem as long as he was sitting. And I done put on my Facebook and many times when I take pictures at the Raider games, me and a couple other guys in our section was sitting down at the Raider games.
Anybody talk to you in your section about it?
No, people don't really care. We just sat down and nobody bothered us.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Nobody cared.
Exactly.
But
We may not win on the field, but we're winning in the stand.
that's right. But you know what? All of this is part of just 49ers, just stupidity. Here it is. At the quarterback position, you're going to have to give somebody...
There's no debate there.
At the quarterback position, you're going to have to probably pay somebody $14 to $16 million at the very least to have a quarterback in the NFL. So basically, they had him for one more year for $14 million or $16, whatever it is. So now they opting out of the deal. They opt out of the deal because of fear that they might have to pay him what the going rate for a quarterback was going to be. Anyway.
Well, he would make $17 million next year.
It don't make any difference. That's cheap for a quarterback these days. Look at so now. If
Tom Brady's going to make $15 million next year.
Yeah, because he's almost a billionaire and he's taking less money, and I'm pretty sure
You're not going to give him credit for that?
Platinum is probably giving him money under the table some kind of way. I don't trust them. They're cheaters. So,
Who is it?
The 49ers. So they didn't want to pay him. So now you got to look at it this way. This is not a strong draft year for quarterbacks. There is no guaranteed quarterback coming out of college this year. You want free agents. You only got 3 decent free agents available. One of them is so accident prone in Romo. Romo, he's not a free agent, but you can trade for him. He may not last the whole season, so why would you give anything up to get him? People talking about Cutler? Man, it's almost every high school quarterback I'd take over him.
Well, actually, who was the other guy you're going to say?
And the other one is Garoppolo at New England. Now,
none of these guys are free agents.
But he's available to be traded for. Now, first of all, the dude came in, he lost one of his games. He's played for New England. They got a system. They was going to win no matter who the quarterback was going to be. And every time somebody pick up a New England backup, we already know what happens in that. So I would give a 4th rounder for him. So now, what are the 49ers going to get that's out there available better than Kaepernick? You know what I want to happen? I want Kaepernick to go somewhere else, and I want him to play so good, and that'll be just another so I can just stick another knife in your day.
Somebody gonna sign him?
I guarantee you somebody's signing. They look. I told
Not
you
for
before,
17 million.
Somebody is gonna sign him.
Colin Cowherd said that if anybody signs Colin Kaepernick, that GM needs to be fired immediately.
I guarantee you somebody's gonna hire him. And first of all, GMs a lot of times before they get ready to sign a free agent, they already been in talk to the owner. So if the owner is on board with the GM, you gonna fire both of them? The owner and the GM?
Well,
no.
because a lot of the teams are stupid.
Well, look. What if you sign him?
There's a couple in the Bay Area that haven't been very smart the last decade.
What couple is that?
Yours and mine.
No.
You're not going to admit it here, but I'm sure
I'm not admitting it anyway. We're talking about people doing stuff bad. We're only talking about Joe's team doing stuff bad. We don't talk about my team doing stuff bad.
I just said it.
Whatever. I didn't agree with it.
Oh, I was going to mention that there was the rumor that Phillip Rivers, did you hear about this one?
What?
Was upset about the Chargers move and was asking to be traded to the 49ers so he could have a say in the head coach. So, I mean, when I heard that, and I know we're getting Kyle Shanahan, who's a quarterback whisperer. I mean, he's had success with RG3 and Johnny Manziel, and the last time the Texans had an offense. And then, of course, the Falcons were breaking records during the regular season. So I like the combination of Kyle Shanahan and Phillip Rivers. I was going around saying, whatever it takes. Everybody is on the trading block. What do the Chargers want? How many first-round picks do you need?
You know what, Dave?
Give me Phillip Rivers.
You know what, Dave?
We got a shot.
You know what, Dave?
You want Navarro Bowman?
It's obvious.
You want Joe Staley?
It's obvious.
I'll give you both of my quarterbacks.
You're not a hardcore football fan either. Now, let's talk about Phillip Rivers for a little bit. What has he done except lose?
It's a terrible team.
How many years has he been in the league? He's 30, what is he, 35 or 37 or something like that?
Every first-round pick.
And he made it to the Super Bowl. One time got beat, 50-10?
He didn't go to a Super Bowl.
He didn't go when they went to San Diego?
No.
Well, good thing.
He got to an AFC championship game.
Did he lose?
Yes.
That's right. So he ain't never won anything. And now you have been talking about whatever it takes. You gonna give up your first-round draft picks for Phillip Rivers?
Hell yeah.
Phillip,
he gives me a shot.
Give you a shot.
I need a quarterback.
Instead of winning 2 games, you might win 4.
I'm saying Kyle Shanahan and Phillip Rivers together.
Both of them together has never done nothing. And now you're getting ready to try to mortgage your future to get 2 ifs.
There's no quarterback.
First of all, best case scenario, Shanahan might be on his way up. But Phillip Rivers is on the other side on the way down. And you going to give up first-round draft picks for Phillip Rivers?
Well, if I can't do that, then how about...
No, you wouldn't do that. Let me tell you something.
How about tank...
And you were talking about giving 2 first-round draft picks up. Let me tell you something. You wouldn't be able to come to work the next day. 49er fans might be out there waiting to ambush you.
2 first-round picks. It'd probably take a lot more than that. How many...
For Phillip Rivers?
How many did it take...
2 first-round picks for Phillip Rivers?
How many did it take to get what was the other quarterback that they just traded first round picks for?
What team traded for? Well, they gave a first round pick, I think, was it to get wait, what was the team?
Well, people want to listen to this. I was thinking about it.
Yeah, we both thinking about it. You shouldn't have brought it up, but that was yours.
All right, forget about that point. Let's get back to Colin Kaepernick. Why do you support his protest?
Because people are
very controversial stance.
He said it was because of, it played into the part of the Black Lives Matter. And when he said
his girlfriend his new girlfriend is very prominent in that movement.
Yes.
The MTV VJ.
But you know what? You got people out there saying that he shouldn't have done it, but let me tell you something. Believe it or not, I'm not saying it was because of him, but since that, we're not seeing every week anymore that police is just going up shooting black people and saying they're scared for fear, because the unions had already told the police every time you pull your gun and shoot somebody, the first thing come out your mouth is you was afraid for your life. That's like a get out of jail free pass. So first of all, if you're too scared to if you're scared and you got to use your gun every time, maybe you shouldn't be a police officer in the first place. But my whole thing was, since he started that movement and stuff, him and other people, it brought it to the attention that the injustices that the police was doing to citizens in America. And believe it or not, I think it slowed up a little bit.
Well, Kaepernick is not going to do his. He announced that he's not going to do his protest anymore. But this year, the rate of police shootings is higher in the first 2 months than last year. I just looked it up online.
Well, maybe they're just not showing it on TV. See, maybe they done got smarter.
They're not as egregious.
Maybe they just got smarter and they not putting it on TV so people can see that they're just still killing people.
Because there are a handful of questionable police shootings every year.
And I'm not saying there's all bad cops.
There's 1,000 police killings every year.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's all bad cops. There's a lot of good cops.
What percentage?
It is bad cops, like it's bad teachers, bad football players, bad lawyers.
There's assholes in every job.
Every job.
What percentage? I mean, do you think it was bad cops as in they're nervous on the job, or they are out there targeting black people?
Some of them are out there targeting black people.
What percentage do you think it is?
I can't say that.
Do you think?
If it's just one, that's too many.
1%? Okay.
Maybe 1%,
Yeah.
but that's too many.
Well, of course. You're giving him a gun.
That's right. My whole thing on that is when you know one of your friends is a cop and he's a bad cop and he do something wrong, why do you got to stand behind the shield of blue, the code of blue contact, say that I got to cover up for him? I am not covering up for somebody to go up and just shoot somebody and kill him for no reason at all. Oh, but he's a cop and we got to cover for him. I don't agree with that one bit.
Well, who does? Besides,
Well, obviously,
the one...
a whole bunch of them do.
What do you mean by that?
Because if one cop goes up and kills somebody, and if they ain't got film to show it, every one of those cops is going to say it was in the line of duty.
Yeah. They're trying to cover each other's ass.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
When we was at work, Dave, we probably would have covered for each other if somebody done something wrong. Or just don't say something to help out the other side. And it's like, I don't mind you covering for your buddies and stuff, but if you're killing somebody, that's like being accessory to murder.
What do you think about Colin Kaepernick stopping his protest now that he doesn't have a job? Do you think that has any influence in trying to get him of teams interested in him?
Oh, yeah.
Do you question his sincerity at all in this protest?
Look,
I sure did.
He might be sincere, but he also may not be a fool. Let me tell you something. You can stop this protest until you get signed, and then once you get signed, start your protest up again.
Oh, man.
That's right. Hey, it could cost him millions if he don't. So guess what? I'm all for him saying, that's right. If this is what it's going to take to put a food on my table and keep me a job, then I got to do it. But once I get signed...
You got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
Boy, that's a player I want to root for.
Hey! If your job and your life depended on it and stuff, you got to do what you got to do. And some people might consider it selling out. Well, maybe it is, but maybe he's only selling out for a couple of months.
I believe that was the exact terminology Colin Cowherd used on his show the other day. Sell out and coward. Okay,
well, let's look at this. How much you told me Colin Kaepernick made like $6 million a year or something like that, some crazy amount.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? if his producers or something told him to take this stand, and if he didn't take this stand, they was gonna fire him. Let me tell you something. He'd probably be fired, and he'd probably take that stand. You never would know it. You know, it's easy for him to say that. It's easy for him to say that, but he's not.
Well, he's saying it's easy to take a knee when you're on, a 2-14 roster, and you got Blaine Gabbert is the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And essentially the franchise has given up on you. What would be really courageous is even if he's a free agent, you're saying it's smart what he's doing, because you got to get. Yeah. He's just manipulating.
I'm not saying he's manipulating anything. I'm just saying he's doing what he's got to do. What is his agent? You know what? The players meet with their agents.
Just an
agents and
well, by the way,
as long as this is
by the way, he fired his previous agent and got a whole new.
So the new agent probably told him, "Look, we're gonna have to get around this stand and get you a job.
You got to stand.
You're gonna have to stand." And you know what? And I would, if I was giving advice, I'd probably do that too.
Yeah.
But like I say,
who would want to sign him?
Once you get that check, you can do what you want to do. Unless they put a clause in your contract saying
that you have to stand,
that you can't do any other kind of protest, or it would void your contract. Now,
then what do you think of him if he signs something like that? Then do you question his sincerity of his protest?
Is that the only way he can get back to playing?
Of course.
I don't want him to give up his whole career for protest, because you know what? He's got the platform even after his career is over.
I mean, there's no debate that he's sparked debate.
Yeah. So
I have no problem with the protest.
If he had to stop protests and say he played football for about 6 or 7 more years, and then he'd have made all his money, it's life after football. Maybe he can go into some kind of activism, and then he could pick up the cause again then.
Well, I think life after football is beginning right now.
I don't think so. He's a better quarterback than anything that's on the 49ers roster right now. Do you agree?
I agree with that.
That's right. And given the situation of all the quarterbacks available to the 49ers, he's probably still better than all the quarterbacks out there that's available right at this moment to the 49ers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not under contract.
Okay, so you don't want to give him they didn't want to give him $17 million, but he's the best quarterback pretty much available to them right now. And believe it or not, I think Kaepernick is probably better than about at least 6 or 7 of the quarterbacks in the league right now. At the very least. And
at the very least?
Yeah.
Boy.
He's probably better than 6. Well, they got a lot of garbage quarterbacks
they
in
do.
this league. And some of them is making some decent money out there.
Kirk Cousins is going to make, what, 20?
What is he going to make, $25 million?
$23 million.
Well, I don't know if I don't think he's a bad. I think him and Kaepernick, I think he's a little better than Kaepernick. Maybe.
A lot better.
Well, no, it's kind of hard to judge how good Kaepernick is when the 49ers don't have the talent around him. They're garbage.
He needs talent around him.
Huh?
Aaron Rodgers doesn't have talent around him. Look what he does.
Aaron Rodgers got he's got a lot more talent around them in Green Bay than they got in San Francisco.
Yeah, a little bit.
Any talent is better than what he had in San Francisco. It's like Crabtree. Crabtree was doing bad. As soon as he left San Francisco and came to Oakland, look, he done signed another contract with the Raiders.
They have a quarterback.
That's right.
Well, Derek Carr is way better than Kaepernick.
Well, yeah,
it's not even close.
You're right. No. Remember, this is a quarterback-driven league.
Yeah.
And if you ain't got no quarterback, you're going to stay at the bottom of the barrel for years to come. And I'm just loving it.
Well, because you know from experience.
I'm not saying that.
Well, I mean, you might as well.
That's what you're saying.
Well, that's what happens.
In most instances, that is what happens.
Oh, man. It's the story that keeps on giving. Hopefully somebody signs him, because I'd be watching that team's games every week.
And Would you get mad if he actually was playing real good and that team was winning?
And I would have to give him a golf clap if he still did the protest anyway.
Oh yeah. Hey, if he started winning for another team, look, maybe all the players on the team might.
The thing is, you say that it would be smart if he was manipulating. Well, you didn't say it was manipulating. I did. That it would be manipulating to say he's stopping it and then he goes and starts it up again when he finally gets a job.
Sound like a shrewd businessman to me.
I don't know that he's that smart.
You can't say he's that dumb not to.
Number one, did you hear when he donated all his shoes to the homeless shelter?
Yeah.
Don't you think the homeless would get...
And he donated about $1 million to some other...
Well, no, he's working his way up to $1 million.
Yeah.
You can follow him on Twitter, and he keeps track of... But, I mean, he had 5 bedrooms just full of shoes, right?
Yeah.
And so he donated all of them to homeless shelters. Don't you think... And they're all size 13, 14. Don't you think the homeless will get their ass beat for these shoes? Colin Kaepernick's shoes? Because these are like these are the shoes that people go to the mall and fight over, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think about that?
Well...
Because I was getting on him on Twitter, and then Shannon Sharp comes yelling at me on Twitter about, do you donate? And I'm like, yeah, yes, sir, I do.
Well, I look at it this way. If the homeless shelters that he was donating these shoes to
gave them out.
No. What they should
them.
do in that instance is not give the shoes out.
Sell
they
them.
should set up an
auction
and sell them so that the people with the money, the value of the shoes would raise more money for the people in the shelters, not give it to them.
Well, that's what I was trying to say.
Oh, you sure went around about it the way that I didn't recognize.
Well, I mean, the impression I got is he just donated them to the shelter.
So, but we don't know if the shelter gave it to the people in the shelter if they tried to sell the shoes and make a bigger profit.
I hope they just gave them to the guys, and then they sold the shoes.
I guess. So maybe they got 50 cents for them.
Do you think there's anything, I mean, the way the protest, it got people talking.
Yeah.
But do you think it was misguided in that he's protesting the federal government, essentially, by not standing for the flag or the national anthem, and he's bringing it to the football game? And when the federal government is doing what he wants them to do, which is investigate police shootings, right? Then the federal government at the time was headed by a black man president and a black supreme, who's the one that does the crime investigations?
I'm telling you right now, Dave, that's the reason why it is so much a divide in America right now. You being a white guy and I'm being a black guy, mostly black guy, and you're looking at it that, how could that be? But when you look at it from the stand, like, he did that because they say, well, he could have done something else. First of all, I've served in the military.
Yeah.
So I didn't stand. So what am I to say? I'm not patriotic no more? Well, you know, he done a protest and he done it that. He didn't make it, he didn't say it was a protest against the government and stuff. It was a police, it was about the police killing innocent black people in America. But the people who didn't see it that way, it was so convoluted that they asked, well, like started saying, well, black lives, well, white lives matters, and then blue lives matters. So all of a sudden, you can't see the forest because of all the trees. You know, so now all of a sudden, where it was first Black Lives Matters, now they put so much, it's sort of like when you try to pass a bill.
The right wing came up with the All Lives Matter.
Like when you try to pass a bill in America through the Congress and stuff, everybody leeches on. And by the time the bill gets out there, nobody knows what it's totally about. That's what happened with him. So people say, well, he shouldn't have done it. I agree with him 100%. And I think people should make more stands in America about it and tell, you know what? It's like, I had sent a letter I put on Facebook one time that said, Mr. President, to Barack Obama. I said, it makes you feel awful bad every day you wake up in America and you see on the news where more innocent blacks is being killed. I said, you probably feel helpless and think you can't do anything about it. I said, but Mr. President, you can do something about it. You can pass a bill right now saying from this point forward, everybody who applies to be a police officer in America, whenever you use your gun, you got to take a lie detector test. And if they don't want to agree to that, then they can't apply for a job. And then the people's already
lie detectors test.
A lie detector test. Whenever you use your gun.
You think lie detectors tests are relevant?
If you don't want, it's good. Hey, it's the best thing I can come up with at the moment. If you don't want the job, then don't apply. And the other police officers, if they got something to do about it, it don't apply to them. You got to do something to stop people from killing people. And I'm not just saying killing innocent blacks. I'm saying killing innocent anybody, black, white, blue, green, I don't care.
Well, the police kill 1,000 people a year on average.
How many of them think they deserved to be killed?
I was going to ask you, what percentage of police shootings do you think are justified?
Out of that 1,000?
1,000 of them a year.
And
about 50, I think it was, are unarmed people.
Okay.
Out of the 1,000?
I'd say about 10% of them.
Or no, it's 100 out of the 1,000, I think it is.
I'd say about 10% of them
is unjustified?
Is unjustified.
Wow, that's a pretty high number. 1 out of every 10?
Nah, that's probably too high then. Let's say 5%.
Yeah, because there's millions of... 3 people are shot by police per day.
Yeah.
And you got to think of the scope of... That includes all of Los Angeles, all of San Francisco, all of New York, all of Chicago. How many millions of traffic stops they have? And the thing is there's 100 unarmed people shot by police per year.
Yeah.
And there's 100 people that get killed by lightning strikes per year.
Okay. But I still say, even if one person get killed,
of course. I wish.
I'm not talking about the ones who got killed by accident.
We're talking about a 5%.
I'm talking about not the ones who get killed by, sometimes police actually make bad
We're talking
decisions.
about that 1%.
I'm talking about the ones who just deliberately do it.
Like the ones that are planting evidence at O.J. Simpson's house.
Yeah.
Let's go to O.J. Simpson now.
All right. What do you want to talk about O.J.?
And last week we were talking about Jameis Winston also.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that, I agree that there are evil police officers out there. I think it's less than 1%, but they're definitely out there. But I also think that maybe the biggest flaw that there is for police happens in the O.J. Simpson trial and the Jameis Winston saga. And what I'm trying to say is that they're blinded by celebrity, and they get starstruck over these guys and go lenient. Now what you were saying last week is that the O.J. Simpson trial is based on the biggest lie ever told.
Right.
Because you said that the police officers knew where O.J. was in Chicago.
No, okay.
Even when they broke into his house because they thought maybe he was in danger.
No, I'm not saying that. The facts say that when they figured out it was O.J. Simpson's ex-wife,
yeah,
they called the house, and the maid said he was on the way to the airport. They called the airport, and he had a plane ready to catch a flight.
But they still hopped the fence.
So they knew he was on the way to the airport, but they said that since she got killed, that they felt his life might be in danger, so they went to his house.
But they already knew he was in Chicago, you're saying.
They already knew he was on the way to the airport. The maid told them that. So then, when they got to the house, his Bronco was parked the car was parked a little bit crooked. So they would have us believe, they said it, that since his car was parked crooked, that they felt O.J. Simpson's life was in danger, so that gave them reason to go jump the fence on his property, and they automatically knew he wasn't there. So when the police is lying about that, and then when
why would they jump his fence if they know he's on the way to Chicago?
That's why I'm saying they lied. And if you lie about that, when the police start off lying, how do you believe anything?
All right, so I rewatched the 4 of the 5 parts of O.J. Made in America,
Yeah.
which won an Oscar at the Oscars. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because this is probably my favorite movie ever made, or series ever made, because it's so good. You got to check it out, O.J. Made in America by ESPN. And part 4 starts off with the scenario you're talking about, and it's the police officers that arrived at O.J.'s house. One of them was Mark Furman, who was the liar, confirmed.
Found the glove.
And it was also the confirmed liar at the witness stand about the N-word. So he's the one that hops the fence in the documentary. He says it. And so, but they don't mention anything about knowing where O.J. is. In fact, Mark Furman asks Kato Kalin, finds out from Kato Kalin that, no, O.J.'s in Chicago.
He was on his way by that time, but they knew he was. They'd already called the house, and the maid had told him he was on the way to the airport.
Well, that didn't make the documentary.
Well, you need to go back and just look at the actual. I watched the whole court, the whole case and stuff, and they called and he was on his way. The police already knew he was not there.
After we were done talking last week,
yeah,
we kept talking, and we probably should have just kept recording, right?
Yeah.
And we were going through some of the details on a Wikipedia page. And you were telling me about how far was it from Nicole's house to OJ's house?
I thought it was longer than what it was, but you said it was.
You're telling me like 10 miles.
I thought it was about 10 miles of time, but it's actually.
It was 2 miles.
2 miles.
Yeah.
But to drive 2 miles in L.A.
10 o'clock at night.
It don't make any difference.
Neighborhood streets.
Have you been down in L.A.? It's pretty hard.
Neighborhood streets.
He had to been flying pretty fast. Let's admit that he had to be going fast, though, right?
He had, what was it, 52 minutes? 9:36 p.m. to 10:45 p.m. A little over an hour.
That was the whole
I don't know where I got
time
52 minutes
That
from.
was the whole time to kill him.
Yeah.
Get there. But I think the guy in the limousine said that it was like he was only in the house about, what was it, 5 minutes?
The limo driver didn't make the cut for the documentary either.
That's right. But he was only in the house for about 5. But you got, how do you get all this blood out of the car when he just jumped out the car and never went back?
Oh, yeah, because you're saying that if he's stabbing her from the front, it's going to be blood all over his shirt because you killed a cow.
Yeah.
And there was blood
everywhere.
Well, he was cutting her from behind.
You're still going to have some blood on you. How are you didn't kill 2 people.
According to the documentary, he had blood on him.
So how do you get in the car?
There's a blood trail going to the backyard of Nicole's condo. There's blood on the Bronco.
There was no blood on the Bronco until after they took
I'm talking
his blood.
about the Oscar-winning documentary.
Oh, well, you know what?
There was a blood trail to his bedroom in his house.
You know America's going to do anything they do to make OJ.
So yeah, the documentarian, when he won the Oscar, and this is kind of to show you where his bias might be, might not be, because the documentary does a great job of documenting racial tensions in Los Angeles throughout its history. And so he dedicates the Oscar to Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman, and then to anyone who's been a victim of police brutality. Okay.
So that was sort of like give more credence to what he had done, or more to just...
I'm just trying to say that he's not trying to say, OJ did it.
Well, he may have said that he wasn't trying to say OJ did it.
He presented the prosecution's case. He presented the defendant's case. the defense the case.
So when you got through watching both sides of it, who did you think he was guilty?
Yes. Oh yeah.
And guess what?
I'm gonna have to watch whatever you're watching.
No, I'm just saying.
I mean, you said you watched the actual trial 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, subconsciously, it's like the way we would have to do this trial, Dave, is this. Did you ever see that movie called It's a Time to Kill?
It's
With Samuel L. Jackson.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. At this last part up there, he told everybody to close your eyes.
Yes.
And imagine that this little kid was white.
Clay Travis keeps referring to this movie, that specific scene over and over again.
If you was to just read the whole trial, not knowing that the persons who got killed was white or black.
Okay.
Not knowing that the person who done the killing was white or black.
All right.
Use Mexican and Asian or some other groups.
I'm just gonna go everybody's gray.
Yes. If you was to read that trial and stuff, there's no way you'd have found him guilty.
Based on what you're saying, a police conspiracy.
You don't think it's when the police is lying about everything, every step of the way, and you don't think it's a conspiracy?
So I was going to make a point about O.J. Simpson tying in with Jameis Winston. And here's the problem I have with the police in this case and in Jameis Winston's case is that they get starstruck. Because O.J. had police officers at his house all the time.
Yeah.
For parties and domestic violence disputes. 14 of them, I believe it was.
I don't remember.
Between 86 and 94, multiple. So, and they arrested him, placed him under arrest one time, but they never cuffed him. He fled the scene. And so, because it's OJ, they give preferential treatment to the celebrities. Like when he was supposed to turn himself in, right? No, even go back before when he flies back from Chicago. And they have all this evidence that you're claiming they planted, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they have all this evidence. And instead of taking him in and arresting him, they brought him in. And I listened to their supposed interrogation of OJ. And it was like hanging out with the boys. And then they let him go. And then when he's supposed to turn himself in, you know, eventually they find him in the Bronco, and you have that famous Bronco chase, and they give him a police escort behind him, and then they're also showing how these chases normally go, and they run people right off the road. But if you're a celebrity, they're not going to do that kind of stuff.
That was not it.
They let him hang out in his driveway till the sun goes down, so nobody will see him.
Because L.A. police, at that point, they saw all the helicopters, all the media, all the people around, and they know if they just go rushing in and kill this guy like they normally
Well, I mean, we'll go back to like the riots after the police officers got acquitted for the Rodney King beating, and then they let that go.
You're right, and you know what? Before they came up with the video, every one of them cops was saying that they didn't do anything to him. And then all of a sudden, when the video came out, then they said he's dead just because every time they hit him, he flinched. That was resisting arrest. You know?
I don't get why you just don't jump on him and cuff him. I don't know what the hell they were doing.
Because they'd rather just beat him.
And even one of the detectives was still, not two of them were defending the actions of those police. Like, that's how you're supposed to do it.
How often do you see...
Well, anyway, you were going to make the point about... you did make the point that...
How often do you see a white person in America just get beat down by the police? They had a white guy in L.A. with a sword in his hand. And the police...
Oh, yeah. I've seen Shannon Sharp make that point.
The police would not even shoot him. The lady ended up... I think this is the same case. The lady ended up shooting him in the leg and stuff. And the police got mad at him. Got mad because they said you're supposed to shoot and kill him, but she didn't want to kill him. Now, you got to tell me. Black people in America get killed with knives in their hands all the time approaching.
They brought up the one lady who they're trying to get her for a $22 utility bill.
Yeah.
And they ended up shooting her 8 times.
Yeah.
And she had the knife in her hand, yeah.
So, we can talk about all these injustices until we just blew in the face, but it's just like But back to the trial that we was talking about, I said, the only way that you can get around it, if you got to look at it, Dave, if you can, just read it. But the problem is, you already know that it was 2 white people that got killed and was killed by a black. It's pretty hard at this point. You're like being contaminated already. You already know what's going to happen, so it's kind of hard to be.
Well, based on the evidence that they showed me on that documentary, you're watching something else.
Oh, yeah.
What's this documentary you're watching? Because I probably should come over and watch it with you.
Well, if you watch this other one about,
something about his son,
O.J. Innocent or something, it was O.J. Innocent or something like that. If you watch that one, they made it.
My mom recorded something.
I got some of it recorded too. They brought out some of the evidence that they did not allow in the trial.
Oh yeah, we were reading through that on the Wikipedia.
A lot of it that they brought out in that document. Yeah. They actually think that O.J. was covering for his son. But a lot of times you go to court, Dave, the lawyers get so much stuff thrown out until by the time you get stuff thrown out on both sides, it's kind of hard to tell who did what.
I should have thrown out that glove fitting.
Hey, yeah, but since he threw it over there on his own.
But your boy had to get that in there.
Yeah, Chris Jordan, I love it. I'm glad he will live in infamy for the fact that the glove didn't fit. Every time I think of my old buddy Chris Jordan, the glove didn't fit. Oh.
So the similarities between, at least in what I'm seeing, is in between OJ and Jameis Winston. So do you know any of the details about Jameis Winston and his alleged rape
No, I don't
situation?
Remember.
You don't remember it at all?
Nah, I remember it. I don't remember what happened.
Yeah, so he picks up a girl and I guess slips something in her drink and then takes her to an apartment and forces himself onto her. And then when she goes the next day to tell the police about it, and I don't know if they investigated or not, but they had access to security cameras to see who it was she was with at the bar. And they probably saw that it was the #1 quarterback recruit in the nation. And so what the police do is they take that information and they give it to the president of the university, who gives it to the athletic department, who gives it to Jameis's defense attorney, and they've put out they get a defense all ready to go before any charges are brought up, because it's the #1 recruit in the nation. And what did he end up doing? Winning a Heisman Trophy and winning a national championship, 25-1 record at Florida State.
And how I feel about rapists, because I feel if he actually did that, that's what all I'm considering is rape. And if that's what really happened.
But don't you think police can have preferential treatment to athletes?
Oh, they can.
Like at Waco,
that treatment can go
Waco and Baylor.
They even, in some instances, if they want to break this sports player down for some reason, they can break them down, or they can hide evidence. That just goes back to where I said it's corruption in the police force. It works both ways sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
It works both ways sometimes. That time, I guess, if you believe their story, it worked in OJ's favor. But it more often than not, it just goes both ways. And I just wish it was some kind of way that you could have more honest police officers,
We're all humans, I guess.
We're all human, and there's a lot of liars out there.
And it's going to be hard in a society where guns are so prevalent, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's right. And your president wants everybody to be able to carry a gun.
I honestly think that would make us safer.
Everybody in Chicago right now almost got a gun, and we see what's happening in Chicago.
Oh, that is true.
And if you think it won't happen everywhere else, when you give everybody a gun, and a lot of these crazy people be licensed to carry a gun, and you drunk in a bar with a gun and stuff, I'm telling you right now.
You know some stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be real bad. So I'm totally against guns. Totally against them now.
I'm the one in my sheltered shell here.
I'm not going to even ask you if you own a gun or not.
I do not.
I don't either.
I can't imagine even shooting a gun. I've never even shot a gun before.
Wow.
Yeah. I never been to a shooting range.
I have, Dave. You already know that. Well, because I've been in the military, but
Yeah.
I shot guns growing up
Oh.
in the streets of Richmond.
Oh, man. Did you ever have any, like, big-time police encounters, police brutality in the...
Yeah. When I was a kid, well, I wasn't a kid. I was probably about 18 years old.
Yeah.
My brother, he was 16 years old at the time. He got into an argument in our house with my mom. So one of the neighbors heard us arguing and stuff, so, heard us arguing and called the police. So the police came in, about 2 white officers into the house in Richmond. And the police asked my mom, do you want him out your house?
How old was your brother?
My brother was 16 years old.
And what year is this?
He was 16, I was 18, so about in 72.
All right.
So the police asked him if you want him out my house. And my mom just said yes. As soon as she said that, this dude's name was Officer Battle. I'll never forget his name in my life. He just turned around and hit my brother right in the jaw and knocked him over a table to the ground.
What was your brother doing when he was asking him?
He was standing right there. When the police just looked at my mother and asked her, "Do you want him out the house?" He just turned around in one motion and hit my brother in the jaw and knocked him down and started to drag him out the house. And me and my other 4 or 5 brothers jumped on the police, those 2 police officers right there. And we beat the crap out of them for a little bit. So then about 2 more police called them. I had about 2 more of my brothers show up and about 4 of my cousins. We was working on pretty good. Then about 7, 8, 10, 12 police cops came. And believe it or not, they beat us pretty good. But they didn't shoot nobody. They just beat us up real good. Even after we was handcuffed and everything, they kept beating on us.
So it was 4-on-4 you were handling him.
Yeah, when we was 6, we were still doing okay.
Oh, man.
But it was just all kind of fighting with your fists and stuff, back when we was young, police used to a lot of times they fight you with your fists. But these police now, they just, look, they ain't having none of that. They just pull their gun and shoot.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying we was right, but you know what? The police initiated. You don't turn and just hit a 16-year-old kid.
That takes
skinny kid.
That takes a lot of courage.
Huh?
That takes a lot of courage.
I grew up in Richmond.
No, I mean, I'm talking about I'm mocking the police officer in that situation.
Yeah, you're right.
To punch a 16-year-old kid in front of his mom.
Yeah. The way you want to take him out of the house is you just want to turn and hit him. 16-year-old kid. Skinny little kid.
Shouldn't the protocol...
My brother didn't even, he probably weighed 90 pounds.
Shouldn't the protocol just be come with me?
Dave.
What?
Not all the time in Black America don't go that way.
What?
I'm trying to tell you, sometimes just go.
Oh, what would happen after that?
Well, in some parts of America back then, they had these cops.
I mean, yeah, we're going to the
Rough
70s.
Riders, and they end up, the city of Richmond end up getting sued behind these police officers. And these police officers were just terrorizing the citizens of Richmond at that time. And you know what happens? But it's still, I don't think all cops are bad cops. I just think,
Yeah, that's a tough job. That's a tough gig.
It's tough, but if it's that tough, don't be a cop. Go do something else.
Amen to that. All right, we're closing on an hour. This has been a pretty good podcast here.
All right.
All right, so any last
Like I always say, go Raiders.
All right. Good to have you here. All right. Later.